Yo, guys, welcome back to the Modern Creative Podcast episode. I believe this is episode 31. Man, 31 weeks of this. This is crazy. Anyways, this is your boy Alberto Mendoza. How are you doing? I am well. Thank you for asking. Quick life updates. I feel like every time I do life updates, I feel like it's the same exact thing that I always say. It's pretty much working, admin work, production shoots, editing, going through meetings, pitches, and all that good stuff. And yeah, man, this past weekend, I actually went to a local hotel here in Oceanside and got to do a little staycation for the weekend. Got to bring out some new toys that I'll talk about in a second, test them out and whatnot. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Hung out at the rooftop, at the pool, got some drinks, got some good food, and yeah, man, that was pretty dope. But speaking of toys, I actually got a couple of pieces of gear that I want to share with you guys. And the first one is this big boy right here, the Sony 85 G Master lens. Man, this is actually my first ever G Master lens, and I am pretty excited to finally own one. I've actually been eyeing an 85 for a few months actually. I catch myself wanting to have a tighter focal length because for the most part I am filming in a 28-75, the Tamron version, and I always catch myself wanting to punch in a little bit more, and I know it's only 10 millimeters we're talking about, but for some reason the 85 has a special look in my eye, and I just wanted to finally own one. And I thought about even asking a buddy of mine if he's willing to sell his he has the I believe he actually has the 85 millimeter Voltrox version, and so I thought about even hitting him up and say, hey man, you're willing to sell me that lens? But I just kept thinking to myself, like, do I really need it? And plus, like, whenever I do shoots and I hire my second shooter, I usually get on his 85. He has the Sony version, which is a 1.8, and that one goes for around, I want to say like $500 to $600. And so anyways, I'm thinking about an 85 for a couple of months, and then just by chance on a Facebook group, a local Facebook photography group, some lady puts out, hey, I'm selling my 85 G Master lens for $900. And I'm like, wait a minute, this has to be a scam. This can't be real. That's such a low price, because the retail for this bad boy is $1,700 US. So it's actually a very expensive lens. So when I thought about buying an 85, I definitely wasn't thinking the G Master version. But this lady had it for $900. She listed it for $900. And one person had to respond, hey, I just messaged you. I'm like, damn, she probably already sold it. So let me just shoot my shot. You never know if that transaction fails. So I messaged her too. I'm like, hey, if you're for real, I will buy this right now. And so she responded to me, and so the images that she had on the listing, it actually looked really good. The only thing you could see right here is just like a little dink on the side. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it, but it's just right there, which is, I don't really care for that. As long as the glass is fine, that's all I really care for. And yeah, I went to her place the following morning, and so I brought my A7 III camera to test it out. So again, whenever you buy used gear, you always got to test it out, make sure it's working and it's proper. So I went out there, and she was an older lady, so that made me feel a little bit better, because that means in my opinion, she probably takes care of her gear a little bit more compared to a kid that just does it for a hobby and just throws his stuff around and whatnot. Anyways, I get there, I bring the cash, and I'm testing it out, and it's working out great. I'm like, all right, this is perfect. Gave her the envelope full of cash, and I took the lens, and now I am an owner of a G Master lens, and I cannot wait to test this out on client work, which will be this coming weekend. But I did shoot some video clips with the 85mm on the duck that I'm currently working on right now. And yeah, I mean, you'll see some of the images right now on YouTube, and I think it looks pretty great for video. It was pretty much sunset at this point. No, it was actually a blue hour, and I was able to put it at 1.4. I'm not used to having a lens that opens up that much, because I'm usually used to like a 1.8 on my 55 Zeiss. And so having an 85 at 1.4, I mean, it's kind of clutch. Having the ISO at, I believe, at probably like at 640, because I'm shooting an S-Log at the base, which was like insane to have such a good image on such low light conditions. So paired with the A7S, it's going to be a beautiful image in low light for sure. And as far as stills goes, I mean, the image looks pretty damn good in my opinion. I didn't really take too many photos with this lens, but if I do get the chance to take some more photos, I mean, obviously I'm gonna think about pulling this lens out rather than the 55mm that I have. But yeah, this lens is amazing so far, man, especially for video. I can't believe this actually happened. Again, I got this for $900. The retail for this brand new is like $1,700 on Amazon. And yeah, man, but this is like pretty intricate compared to the lenses that I do own, because this has all these buttons. When I was trying to change the aperture for the lens, I usually use the camera, one of the dials in the camera, but it wasn't going because you actually have to manually do it with the little, you can see that right here. That's how you change the aperture. And then this also has a custom button that you could program, or a hold, or a freaking focus hold, which I could see myself using. The autofocus and manual focus, I am definitely not used to that because I usually change focus on my camera. So this is a little bit more intricate than the standard lenses that I own, but I see why it costs what it costs. Again, I probably would never purchase this lens for $1,700, but when the stars aligned, call it what you want to call it, the lady sold it or listed it for $900. I'm like, dude, bet I am getting that right now. If you guys are in need of camera equipment, I know I touched upon this every other episode at this point. Dude, don't shy away on getting some used equipment. Go to Facebook Market. That's where I found this one at. I also find some gear at OfferUp as well. I know there's a ton of other sites where people sell Craigslist and all that good stuff. I mean, I think Craigslist is a little sus in my opinion. That's why I stay away from it. But like OfferUp, Facebook has worked out for me perfectly fine. And we have good communication. I check out her profile. I verify she's actually a real human being. And it was actually pretty cool. We had a good nerd photography, videography conversation. I asked what she does. She asked what I do, and we exchange Instagram handles, business cards as well. But yeah, man, that's also a great way of networking. I can refer her to potential clients, and she could also do the same thing for me. On to the second piece of equipment. This one, guys, man, I don't know how to feel about this. I went to the dark side. I purchased my first Canon camera. It is the Canon G7X Mark II. This little point and shoot camera is quite cool, actually. This thing is freaking tiny, man. Like, it's just, look at that. It's just so, man, it's just pretty cool. My wife has been eyeing this camera for a few months now. Plus, I mean, she definitely got influenced by all these influencers that she follows, because all these girls are buying this camera right now. And so she's been wanting it for a while. So I did a little bit of research. She was like, hey, what about having a little point and shoot? She's always been wanting to have her own little camera. She doesn't like how the iPhone photos come out. So she's always wanted something, just a point and shoot, just to like have some photos for herself if she wants to take some photos real quick if she goes on a girls trip or something like that. I'm doing some research on this camera, and I'm trying to figure out if it's even worth purchasing, because this camera is actually pretty damn old. So I was trying to justify the price, which I'll say in a second, but like this camera came out in 2016. So definitely 4K wasn't the biggest thing at the time. I was doing my research and I kept wondering why the hell it's so damn expensive. And this camera goes for, right now, you could buy it on B&H for $629, and is actually in back order right now as we speak, which is kind of wild for such an old camera. There's actually a Mark III version of this. This is just the Mark II version. And so I was really surprised that a camera this small that only shoots 1080p standard HD, not 4K, goes for that much. And so I was like, okay, like if it costs that much, whatever. I mean, that's just the market. So let me go check on OfferUp. Let me go check on Facebook. I mean, people were selling these cameras for like $700, $800, $900 sometimes that I would see. I'm like, whoa, like what is going on? Like, all right, so these damn influencers, man, are probably jacking up the price for this camera for a while, because now she always shows me of like people that have like a huge following showing me this camera. They always say like, oh, how do you take your photos? And like, oh, I always use this camera. And so she would always send it to me, plant the seed on my head. I can't justify spending so much on such a okay camera. I mean, it's great and all, but I mean, it's doesn't even shoot 4K. And her way of justifying was like, well, I only need it for photos. I'm like, well, you can use your phone, but she really wanted it, so we finally got it. Let me give you a quick rundown of the specs right now. It's a 1-inch CMOS sensor, 20 megapixel stills. This could take up to 7 images per second, and this also is equivalent to a 24 to 100 millimeter look. So yeah, I mean, it shoots. It's not bad. I mean, again, it's just the 1080. The 1080 kind of bugs me at this point. I've become such a 4K elitist. I wouldn't mind if it had 4K 30 frames per second, which is standard, not slow motion. But it just offers up. I mean, it just offers up 1080 60, which is even kind of crazy. It doesn't even offer up 1080 120 frames per second. So I know I'm like crapping on the camera, but like it gets the job done for photos. Like she really loves the photos that comes out of this camera. And we finally get to experience the Canon colors, the legendary Canon colors when it comes to photography. I mean, everyone and their mom knows, even if you're a Sony user, that Canon is the way to go when it comes to photography stills. And so we've been trying it out. You can check out the images right here. You could go ahead and be the judge of that and let me know how these images look. Of course, these are edited on Lightroom. By the way, we also got this little SD card to Lightning port dongle thingy that goes to the iPhone. You could literally stick your SD card into this and then it'll import the images, the raw images into the iPhone, which is kind of cool in my opinion. Something that, again, she wants to simplify her process. Instead of getting the SD card, putting it into the laptop, dumping it, organizing it, editing it, then exporting it, then airdropping it. This goes, you can take the photo really quick, put the SD card into this, to the iPhone, and you have the raw images on your iPhone, and then you could just edit them on whatever editing platform you choose. We both use Lightroom since I already pay for it, so we might as well use the mobile app because I think it does a great job. And so I think this thing does make life a little easier, especially on vacation. If I don't want to take my laptop, for example, this past weekend when I was at the rooftop hotel here, we just took this with us, and then whatever photos we took of the day, we just imported them onto our phone and then did a quick little edit. And if you want to post real quick, then you can instantly without bringing a laptop. So that was kind of cool. But this thing is pretty cool, man. I mean, yeah, I'm definitely not going to vlog or anything like that, but it's just cool to have, even if we want to do any little trips, if we want to just record for ourselves and just have something with us for memories. The menus is actually very, very user friendly too, compared to the Sony that has freaking 10 pages of nonsense. This has like four pages, that's it, and it's very simple, very user friendly. It's pretty interesting because like on YouTube, everyone kept saying that, oh, this is the perfect camera that's under $500, and bro, it's literally $630 right now on a B&H brand new, and it's a camera that came out in 2016. It's crazy how like the market works, man. That's one thing that's cool about camera equipment for the most part. As far as like bodies and lenses, they for sure hold their value, man. Like, I mean, this lens is quite old as well, and I mean it's $1,700 retail, and I got it for $900. This camera that came out in 2016, I mean, it went up in value, if anything. So like, yeah, man, like if you have a camera body, if you have any lenses that you want to sell because you're just kind of like over it or something like that, I mean, you're definitely going to get some, I'd say like 80% of your money back. Every time I sell my equipment, I get it for a damn good price compared to when I purchased it. So I always get definitely a great return. And speaking of used gear, man, Facebook Market, I actually saw an A7 IV, which is a brand new camera that came out like, I want to say a year ago at this point. That camera, it was a retail for like $2,500, and this person was selling it for $1,600. I'm like, damn, like I even almost pulled the trigger on that just to have another body with me, but like I didn't do it. But yeah, don't be shy to get any used gear, man. I mean, I've definitely taken advantage of it. I think I want to say like I currently have like 5 lenses now, and 3 of the 5 lenses that I have were used lenses. It'll definitely save you some money. But that's it, guys. It's going to be a short one for me. I got some pretty great guests for you guys in the next few podcasts coming up. So I'm very excited for you guys to take a listen. So if you guys could do me a solid favor, if you guys could hit the subscribe button if you're on YouTube, if you're on Spotify, or if you're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, hit the subscribe as well. Give it a 5-star rating and leave me a review if you're on Apple Podcasts. I really appreciate that, man. Seriously. And that is all I got. Peace.